Hi, Ben from Kalala Bay, Australia here, demonstrating a new backlit display I've created for the Yamaha 1990s QY series of synthesizers. It's applicable to any of the QY sequences that had the non-backlit display. Those devices were notoriously bad for the display, very hard to see under most lighting conditions. Despite having a scroll wheel for altering the contrast, they still couldn't really be used on stage or out in sunlight or in dark conditions. The response is really good. There's no appreciable lag like driving the menus. And I'll turn the lights off in the room just to show, and that'll be perfectly suitable for using on stage if you ever plan to use these boxes there. You can see this is a QY70 with the original standard display in it, and I'll show, like, even these conditions are not great, but it's really hard to get. I'll try and focus directly on that one, but it's really hard to get a decently legible display, let alone if I shine a bit more light on, it may do better. But I think this display is actually fading a bit, but with this backlit display you can pretty well use it anywhere. I'm selling the display mod kits on eBay. Initially I made 6 and I've sold 2 already, so unfortunately there's only going to be 4 available for sale, which will be going in the next couple of days. People who have expressed interest in this, I'm going to notify them so they get like first chance, and if and when those sell out, I'll then be making a bigger batch, say of 10 or 20, just depending on the amount of interest there is. How to install the LCD Mod Kit in QY70. So begin by removing the 5 screws holding the back on. All you need for this is a Phillips screw, number 2 or number 3 Phillips screwdriver. Bring that out. Oops. When you lift the back off, be careful. Mine's been unsoldered, but the battery connections are attached there. Now, if you're not careful, you might end up breaking those connections and having to resolder them. Okay. Next thing you need to do is remove the 2 screws from the back, this part of the motherboard, holding the motherboard in. 1, 2, like that. And you can lift this is the LCD cable. Be careful with the ribbon, but press down on those chips and pull up like on the cable and it'll come up pretty easily. And you can lift, the board comes back like that, and there we've got the LCDs hidden under there. So you've got this metal plate. Now I've taken a few screws out of this already, 1, 2, 3, 4 around there. So there's another 3 holding the LCD in. So 1, 2 and 3, like that. There's a 4th one there, but you can leave that where it is for the moment, and then you'll be able to lift that plate out. So just go like that. Be very careful with put that somewhere safe, and then remove the last screw which is holding the LCD there. You could have removed that earlier, and then basically the LCD just comes out like that. When you get the old display out, you could plug it back in, just check that it's still working, and put some power on the board and bring it on. And you might, if you want, you could probably sell that and get a reasonable price for it on eBay. Okay, now we've got the motherboard, we've got the shield, metal shield, and here's the where the LCD is going to go, where we took the old one from. Now the new LCDs, 2.8 inch screen, a microcontroller, and the LCD connector. The screen's got a film protector on it, so obviously remove that. If the screen's dirty, clean it, and if the window down there is dirty, do a similar thing, just clean it as well. So drop in the screen. It's got cutaway corners and should drop down between those mounting posts for the old screen and hold firmly in place like that. Now you need to lift the and slide the shield in on top of it like this. And you can use that and push so it slides into place like that. And what we can do is now use the, we're only going to use 3 of the screws now instead of 4 to hold the screen in place. So that'll go like that. 1, 2. You can tape that down if you want. It doesn't really matter if you do or not. Just bring it out like that, and the motherboard will drop in on top of it like that, and will sit down nicely on the mounting post. So I'm just going to put 2 screws in at the moment, just to, because we're going fairly quickly. But you need to make sure that it's going to sit down flush, and note that you don't put the ones in at the back yet, because they go from the outside. I'm just going to use these 2 on the front for now. While you're at it, you can check the battery, and if it's low, you can replace it. Like if it's say below 3 volts. Now these screws at the back, we're not putting those in yet, and then it's pretty straightforward. Now when you get this, yours will be covered in heat shrink, so there's no chance of electrical misconduct. So we're just going to put the thing in there. Now before you go too much further, it's a good idea to test it. So in fact, you could have tested it before you even started installing it. You could have just plugged it in here. Good, we've got a light on there, and as you can see, the screens come up. It's really nice. So I'll give you a little demo. Like, to turn because this is probably going to look a lot nicer than the other demo I made of it. And let's go. Oh, that's demo. Okay, so we just hit play, and we can see it's really clear, but my camera is having a little trouble tracking it because it's so bright, I think. Let me just put a bit more light on it just to show. Okay, yeah, so all good. And from there on, this will be covered in heat shrink, so there's no chance of shorting anything out, and you just drop that in there and fit your wiring loom in wherever the space. It'll basically just sit down near that chip there. Keep it away from the back, because that's where your battery compartment's going to come in. But it'll basically sit down there quite nicely and still be working lovely. All right, and then obviously put the back in. If you did end up breaking the battery terminals, you'll have to resolder those. Okay. How to install LCD Mod Kit on QY20. So just begin by removing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws from the back. I've taken them out already, just using a Phillips screwdriver. When you lift it, be careful you don't reef the battery terminals out. Now I've put some jumpers on the board because it's a lot better than the solder connections, mainly because I've just had it open a few times while developing the mod kit. You don't have to do that. Now you notice I've got this copper shield, which is important to try and protect that if you can. So remove there's one screw there, a second screw there holding it in. Now you could get away with leaving it in place, but I think it's better if you take it off. It's much easier to work on it. So in order to do that, you're going to have to remove these 2 jumpers over here. Now you might want to get some little screwdrivers to get under them, because they can be a little bit tricky. So just a little flat screwdriver on either end of them like that, just to lift them up. Pardon my wobbly fingers. I've got a bit of nerve damage on the left hand. Okay, and then at this point in time, it's worth testing your mod kit. Make sure it's working. So just grab the LCD connector and plug it in like that. Turn it up the right way. Put some power on your unit. Turn it on, there we are, so the display's coming up, all good. Okay. You can leave it plugged in if you want. Now, after I remove those, then we can now lift the motherboard out like this, and we can take, you can see there, at the back here, the copper foil is screwed down there, so you want to remove that, any screws that are holding it in place like that. Try not to tear it. You might end up introducing a noise problem if you're not careful. But just take it all the way out like that, and this gives you full access to the to remove the old LCD. Like before, you could test whether it's still working okay, but I'm not going to in this case. Again, remove the screen protector from the mod kit. Just drop it in there. It's got the cutaway corners. Once again, the warning, don't bend anything down there. Lay the board in like that, and I think we're going to find it easy if we just remove the LCD connector again, just because it's a little bit tricky with the copper shield getting it back into place. So we need to bring those cables through there. So we need to put the screws back in there. We're holding the copper shield in place. That one, oops. These also hold down the switchboard, I believe. Then our motherboard is going to go in. No, it isn't. It's going to go in like, need to fold that cable down, just get it out of the way, and that's going to come in over the top of it like that. Those are going to go on there, and I'm going to make sure that it's now sitting down flush, which it is. If you don't get it sitting flush, then we can put that back in there now and screw the. Now, as I said with the other one, this will be covered in heat shrink, so there won't be any problems with accidentally shorting out something there. But that's gonna go over there just under the copper foil like that. As we go in, that'll come down, and then from there on, basically you're just putting the back cover back on. So hopefully that'll that's all I need to show you. But I'll give you, if you needed even better instructions, get in touch with me, and I'm happy to, show again, just to show that it's working all right. There you go. And when you have to be a bit careful, you get it lined up properly, because I've got an angle there. All right.